Hello YouTubies, this is Joker Scribe and thanks for watching one of my amazing YouTube videos. Now this is going to be about the Zeitgeist that was made by Google. And I admit myself, I was actually fooled by it. And I was thinking when I was watching one of Thomas Sheridan's videos, he was saying it was an awful movie. And I didn't fully agree, I still don't fully agree it was a terrible movie. But it wasn't as good as I thought when I watched it again, because this time I actually watched it with a critical eye. And what I mean by that is I was watching it because I wanted to see where the gaslighting was, where the half-truths, where the misleading was going on, because if Thomas Sheridan says it's a bad movie, there must be something in it. And at first it opens up pretty well. You know, they include George Carlin, they include Bill Hicks and some of those absolutely brilliant people who were talking about things. And I don't always agree with George Carlin or Bill Hicks. I don't agree with everything they say. For instance, there's one where George Carlin was saying that, oh, wouldn't it be great if all the people died or something? I mean, he's having a comedy. It's not what he meant. But I don't agree with that at all. And I don't agree with the fact that the pesticides, herbicides, and the ground is being demolished in certain places in the world. That's what they call. That's why it's harder to grow things on the ground. I don't agree with that. I think there is some things with environments, and we do have to be a little bit careful with how we dispose of rubbish. We can't just keep on dumping it somewhere. We've got to recycle things. I think this is a good thing. I think it's part of what humanity does. They try to improve themselves. I don't disagree. But I don't agree that bags are the end of the world either, like George Carlin points out. So he has a lot of good points, but that's a different thing. Let's talk about the Zeitgeist. When I was watching it the first time, I thought, oh, this is brilliant. You know, they're talking about the bankers, they're talking about religion. And then later there was a recession. Suddenly there was a recession out of nowhere. This was in 2007. And then boom, a few months later, recession came after people had been talking about the Zeitgeist. And after watching Thomas Sheridan, I was starting to question a number of things on that actual program. What exactly did they cover in it? They include George Carlin, yeah, he's absolutely fantastic. They included Bill Hicks, but these are everything we know about. You know, lots of people watch Bill Hicks and George Carlin, so there's no hiding from it. And then do this to make themselves look good, you know, revolutionary or something. And then what they did was they talked about the banks and religion. Now, the majority of people out there aren't religious, so they're not actually giving you anything. They're giving you something that you already know. You know that the religion is mostly scum. I mean, some of them are scum. I'm not saying all of them are scum. You know, the Church of England does a lot of help. I mean, the Church of England has actually helped a lot of innocent children when they're being hurt. So I take that back. The Church of England has been pretty good. There's certain institutions with the church, Catholic Church, etc., that have helped people in the past. So I wouldn't say they're total scum. But, you know, it says that they have convinced people, you know, to give them money, etc. And that is true. There is some truth there. But it's nothing that I didn't know already. Or the majority of people didn't know. This has been covered before. And then we talk about the banks, okay? Well, who do you know actually likes bankers? Has anybody ever liked the bank? You know, has everybody ever gone to the bank and thought, oh, right, I really enjoy going to the bank, or I like these people who run the bank? No. Nobody likes the bank. So what they're covering, they're just covering something that we actually already know about. We know that the banks are scum. We know that they take advantage. And that's what they're covering in the Zeitgeist movie. It's revolutionary, something that they're revealing. But they're revealing things we already know about. So they've not covered anything yet. But yet they talk about this, you know, the recession, buying money, etc. Boom, 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 boom. And then 6 months later, people are talking about, you know, well, they're talking about up to 6 months. And they're going, oh my God, they're selling things. The bankers are ruining our country, etc. Recession. Suddenly there's a recession, and I thumped the microphone. That's not out of anger, that's because it was in my way. But recession suddenly comes, and I believe that was a carefully planned recession. Let me explain why. Because Google was going out with the bankers anyway. Google's been going to a number of these places, meeting bankers, meeting politicians. It's been done before because they're a big company. In fact, I think Google's going to be the next big company, bigger than it already is. It already runs the internet. Who knows what else it's going to end up running? It already makes mobile phones and touch tablets. It's doing quite well for itself. But this story that they made up, they're talking about bankers. Yeah, there's some truth to it, but it's so manipulative. They bent the truth. They did it in such a way where it was all doom, and then people started to believe it. And no matter what they started to write in the papers, then people said, "Oh yeah, that has to happen. Small businesses can no longer be opened. They have to start closing." But no worries, we can open big Tesco's down the road. Now, I remember in 2005 when big Tesco's, big Asda, big Metrolink, you name it, big businesses wanted to demolish the small businesses, right, by opening up a hyperstore somewhere. And everybody said, "Oh no, you can't do that, the small businesses." I don't believe everybody remembers that. And that was only, a few months before this Zeitgeist movie was made. After it was made and this recession came, everybody didn't give a shit that these small businesses were closing down. So I actually think that what this all is about is privatisation, to kill off the small businesses so the new hyperstores can open up, so the big businesses can rule. So they're noticing that they're closing down some of the small businesses to save on cost. Yeah, well, that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? This recession is a fake recession. I'm not saying it's totally fake, but there's a lot of fakery going on. Is really just about privatisation, about the big businesses, about kicking down the small businesses, and that's what Google was doing. It's very manipulative when they were doing it, and I was shocked that people are still falling for it. I haven't got anything against big businesses in themselves, but I remember, because I'm 35, I actually remember quite a lot that's going on. I remember 10 years ago when people would fight against big Tesco's because they want the loads of stores on the high street. They're all gone now. There's no small stores when you walk down the street. They're all gone. Big Tesco's, big Morrison's is taken over. Lack of competition because they can just buy them out, and then they rise the cost through inflation because you all fall for that. So this recession means we have to have bigger cost. Yeah. The recession just seems to be a little bit made up to me. I don't think there really is a big problem. I think the problem is going to be for us. And until people actually realise what's going on, they're not really going to fight the system. The system is against you if you're small. Unless you have a big willy, you've got no chance. So this Zeitgeist movie, I don't think really covered anything. I think it was just manipulative. I think all it was a planned recession, and they were part of it. Very sneaky, acting out to be the good guys like they always do. These bad guys always act out that they are saving you, when in reality they are stabbing you in the back over and over again like some crazy lunatic. So thank you for watching. I'll be interested in what other people think about this, but please leave your comment down below. And I was surprised. I thought that was a good movie, and then I watched somebody I respected on YouTube, then watched it again. This was a number of months ago. I didn't do it recently, but when I actually watched it, I just thought this is not really covering anything, really, is it? They're just doing an attack on religion and just talking about the banks, which is something they already planned, was to cause this recession. If they didn't say anything about the banks, and they want to have a recession, the recession has to come from the banks anyway. So they've not covered anything. They've just brainwashed everybody. They've just hypnotized people on the internet, and it's happened again and again and again, and people believe it. Listen, you don't have to be told by anybody that there's problems going on in the world. If you believe you're doing well for yourself, you will do well for yourself. Actually, do you know, for the years that the recession was going on, I was doing pretty well for myself. Honestly, I mean, once I had a kid, it started to go downhill, but with the money. But before then, I was actually doing very well for myself. In fact, I was richer than ever. But now, since the kid, it's not the same thing. But anyway, let's cut it from there. I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to leave a comment, guys, and rate. I know some of you got down for me because, yeah, some of you trolls. But anyway, goodbye. See you later.